You walk into IKEA for one thing, a desk. That's it. You know exactly what you want. You walk in, find the desk, pay for it, and leave. Simple, right? Apparently not at IKEA. Because before you can get anywhere near the desk, IKEA wants you to see a bedroom, then a living room, then a kitchen, then another bedroom, then some shelves, then lighting. And somehow, 45 minutes later, you are standing in the checkout line holding a plant, 6 storage boxes, and a candle you absolutely did not come here for. We have all been there. So, the obvious question is, why does IKEA make you walk through almost the entire store? Is it just terrible store design? Or is IKEA doing something much smarter? Because here's the thing, IKEA isn't really trying to sell you furniture. It's trying to sell you an idea of what your home could look like. And once you understand that, the entire IKEA experience starts making sense. Think about the way furniture stores work. You walk in, you see a sofa, there's a price, maybe a few different colors, you compare it with another sofa, done. You are basically shopping for individual objects. IKEA does something very different. Instead of showing you a sofa sitting by itself, it puts that sofa inside an actual living room. There's coffee table, a lamp, a rug, some shelves, picture on the wall, maybe even a tiny plant sitting somewhere it has absolutely no business surviving. And suddenly, you are not looking at a sofa anymore. You are looking at a room. And more importantly, you are imagining your life in that room. That's the trick. IKEA itself describes its showroom as a place for inspiration, and its traditional stores guide customers through different room settings before they reach the marketplace and self service areas. And that design is important because if IKEA simply put every product in a giant warehouse and gave you a map, you would probably find what you came for much faster. Which sounds great, but IKEA would lose something, the opportunity to show you what you didn't come for. And that's where the store's famous route comes in. You know those arrows on the floor? They are basically saying, come this way, you can take shortcuts, you can skip sections, but if you follow the normal route, IKEA decides the order in which you experience the store. First, you might see a living room, then a workspace, then a bedroom, then storage. And as you are walking through all of this, you are constantly seeing products being used in context. That matters. Because a product sitting on a shelf doesn't necessarily tell you much. But put that same product inside a beautiful room, and suddenly your brain starts doing the work. That would actually look good in my apartment. I could put that next to my desk. Wait, I actually need something like that? And that's how a shopping list starts getting longer. Here's a simple example. Imagine you walk into IKEA because you need a desk. That's your only mission. Desk. But on the way there, you see a workspace that looks fantastic. There's the desk, there's a chair, there's a lamp, there's a shelf above it, there's some clever storage underneath, and suddenly you are not thinking I need a desk. You are thinking my workspace could look like this. That's a completely different thought, and it's much more powerful because IKEA hasn't just shown you a product, it has shown you a possibility. And this is actually one of the oldest tricks in marketing. Don't just show people what you are selling, show them what their life would look like after they buy it. A gym doesn't really sell exercise, it sells the version of yourself you imagine becoming. And IKEA, it sells the feeling of having a home that looks organized, comfortable, and well, like someone actually knows what they are doing. That's why the room setups are so important. They are basically giant advertisements that you can walk into. And here's the part I find really interesting. IKEA has experimented with smaller stores and shopping formats that make it easier for customers to get around. You would think customers would love that. Less walking, less confusion. Get what you need and go home. Makes perfect sense. But IKEA found something surprising. Some customers actually miss the traditional journey because that journey helped them discover things they hadn't planned to buy. And that tells you something important about IKEA. The maze isn't necessarily the whole point. Discovery is. The route gives you more chances to discover an idea, a product, or a solution that wasn't on your original list. And that's a pretty clever way to sell. Because most people don't walk into IKEA thinking I want to buy 14 different products today. They walk in with a problem. The bedroom, like my bedroom needs more storage. My apartment is too small. I need somewhere to work. My living room looks terrible. IKEA doesn't just give you a product, it gives you a solution. You don't see a shelf, you see a way to organize your tiny apartment. You don't see a desk, you see a better workspace. You don't see a sofa, you see a living room that suddenly doesn't look like a collection of random furniture you bought over 5 years. And that is much easier to sell. There's also something psychological happening here. When you see a product in isolation, you have to imagine how it will fit into your life. That's work. But when IKEA puts the entire room together for you, it does the imagining for you. You don't have to think, would this chair work with that desk? IKEA already answered that question. It's right in front of you. You don't have to imagine what the room could look like. You are looking at it. And that's why the showroom can be so effective. IKEA isn't just displaying products, it's removing the imagination problem. Now, this is where I want to be careful. You have probably seen people online say that IKEA designed its maze specifically to trap customers and force them to buy more. It's a great story. It also makes IKEA sound like some evil mastermind sitting in Sweden, drawing arrows on a map and laughing at us. But the reality is more complicated. There isn't strong evidence that the entire layout exists simply to confuse you. IKEA's own explanation focuses much more on inspiration, room settings, and helping customers discover products. And broader retail research does suggest that store environments and layouts can influence shopping behavior and impulse buying. So the interesting question isn't is IKEA tricking us? It's how much can a store influence what we notice and what we imagine? And IKEA is pretty fascinating case study. Because think about what would happen if IKEA removed the showroom completely. Now you walk into a massive warehouse, thousands of products, sofa, desk, chair, bed, lamp, shelf. You find your desk, you pay, you leave. Very efficient. But there's a problem. You probably wouldn't have seen the other things. And IKEA wouldn't have had the chance to show you how those products fit together. The showroom turns separate products into a story. And once those products become part of a story, they are much easier to imagine in your own life. That's why you can walk into IKEA looking for a desk and somehow leave thinking about your entire apartment. And honestly, that's what makes the strategy so smart. The arrows aren't the genius part. The maze isn't the genius part. Even the furniture isn't the genius part. The genius is the way IKEA turns shopping into discovery. You came in with a problem, then IKEA shows you possibilities, and somewhere between the living room and the checkout counter, one of those possibilities becomes, you know what? I actually need that. That's not necessarily manipulation, that's a good retail. And there is a bigger lesson here for almost any business. If you are selling something, don't spend all your energy explaining why your product is great. Show people what their life looks like with it. If you sell software, don't just show the features. Show the business running better because of it. If you sell fitness equipment, don't just show the machine. Show the person using it 6 months later. If you sell marketing services, don't just list Google ads, Meta ads, and SEO. Show the business owner what it feels like when customers actually start coming in. Because people don't buy features, they buy the outcome they imagine those features will create. And IKEA has turned that principle into a building, literally. So, the next time you walk into IKEA and wonder why you have to walk past 3 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, and an entire wall of lamps just to find a desk, remember what you are actually walking through. It's not just a furniture store, it's a physical catalog. You don't flip through pages, you walk through them. You don't just see the furniture, you see what your life would look like with it. And maybe that's why IKEA doesn't really need to convince you to buy the furniture. It just needs to convince you to imagine yourself living there. And once you have done that, the shopping cart tends to take care of the rest. Thanks for watching. More business stories coming soon.